皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So today I would like to share with you the few things I was thinking about after meeting a few friends through Golden Week. So I'm pretty sure by the time I'm posting this podcast, Golden Week is already over. But it's Golden Week, for those of you who don't know, is a holiday season in Japan in usually the first week of May, where a lot of national holidays are like squeezed together in one section of the month. Yeah, and this year there were some people who could take some extra days off, did actually have a 10-day holiday. So Golden Week could be really a golden week for Japanese people. But anyways, because it was such a holiday season, I actually received a lot of messages from my friends, and they asked me if you want to hang out with me, and I was like, yeah, of course, let's see each other. It's been a while, you know. So I met one friend from university. We actually trained in Shogo Your Japanese together, and another different senpai, another friend, by the way. The first friend that I met was from where I met him in YMCA when I was volunteering as a university student. And again, the other friend from Shorinji, and the third person I met yesterday was actually a senpai from the place I was working as a part-time worker. I was working at izakaya once for about a year and a half, I believe. Yeah, I was actually cooking yakitori. I think I've never talked about this, but I was actually a chef cooking yakitori, by the way, for a year and a half. But anyways, yeah. So I met these three people, and talking with them made me realize something that I guess I've changed a lot in the past few years. And it is something very similar to the topic that I talked about last week. I'm pretty sure it'll probably be last week, but about me feeling scared or not, feeling afraid or not. So the first friend, basically, I talked to the friend from Shorinji Kempo, from the person who I trained together originally in university. He told me that he's actually going to be getting married this year. And he proposed to his girlfriend, and they're going to be writing the contract for getting married and everything this summer. Maybe doing the wedding this year, maybe next year and everything. And yeah, so he was talking about that. And he was also talking about, well, if he's going to be getting married, he's actually 1 year older than me. So he's 29 this year, I believe. Yeah. And getting married, and his wife she also trained in Shorinji Kempo too, so I know her as well. So they are a 29, 28-year-old couple, and he actually wants to have kids, but she is a little bit scared about it. So he was asking me, like, Shogo, you have two kids, like, how were you able to decide? Weren't you afraid of how much money it might cost, or like, will you be able to be a good parent or not, and so on and so forth. So he was asking me these questions. So I'll put that aside for now, okay? Let me move on to the second person who I talked to. So the senpai, who I used to originally work at the izakaya as a part-time worker, we used to work at the same place together. I met him for a really long, since I think it was the last time I met him was like 2 years ago. Nagi, my second daughter, wasn't even born at that time, so it was a really, really long time ago. And it was great talking with him. And he was asking me, like, how is your business going, like YouTube and everything, all the business, like future plans and everything. He was like really, really willing to learn from me, and especially because he really wants to challenge working in the tourism industry in the future. Once borders are opened up, he really wants to try to challenge something new. He's been working in the field of architecture all his life, but in Japan, the field of architecture, it seems from what he has explained to me, is the industry itself is declining and it's weakening. So he's a little bit afraid that he won't be able to, make a living in the future too, just working in that field. So he wants to challenge something new, and because he's been to Canada before to study abroad, and he really has a strong will to try to, try to spread, the beauty of Japanese architecture to the world. He was asking me a lot of questions about when I was working in the tourism industry. However, of course, even no matter how much he wants to work in the tourism industry, there is no tourism in Japan right now at the moment. So you really have to just get prepared if you want to right now, right? Maybe like set up your own tour or start a social media or something. And so in the end, I recommended to him, maybe you can start from a YouTube channel and go to the architecture that you want to introduce in Kyoto. And yeah, it'll be really good for you to just gain more knowledge and such. And what he told me was that, yeah, YouTube but there's just so many people starting it right now, and I'm pretty sure it's a red ocean. It's I don't know if you say red ocean in English. Do you say red ocean? Yeah, in Japanese we say red ocean in terms of a field of business where there's just so many people involved, and it's really hard to succeed in it anymore, kind of thing. And anyways, that's what he said. So for both of these statements, my first friend, my second senpai, the two people I just mentioned, for these two statements, I really felt the same thing. And the answer, as you probably already understand now, is that, well, you never know until you actually do it. And I think, thinking back at it now, I think maybe just a few years ago, I would have been thinking the same thing as they would have. Yeah. But as I explained before in my self-introduction videos and everywhere, when I talked about my previous jobs and such, for example, when I was working in Kyoto Samurai Experience, take for example, I was basically forced to work in substitute for the president, which suddenly called me one morning and said he doesn't want to come to work. So I have to suddenly do everything now for him. Yeah. So basically that happened once before. And then again in 2020, even though I put in about a few million yen that I saved throughout my whole life, I put that money in and I lost everything in 2 months, and I had to survive to protect my family. And, I was only able to earn just a few $100s in the beginning as a web writer, and I talked about that before, right? So I've experienced so many things where I was just simply forced to survive and do everything I can, be desperate, to survive. So I wasn't thinking anything when I did these things. I wasn't there was no, what should I say, time for me. There was no space for me to be afraid or scared. I had to do it. I have a wife, I have kids, I have to make a living. So in the end, I really felt a lot of especially my friends who I've usually talked to, always say the same thing. They're afraid. My younger brother was talking about this too, and I love to introduce what kind of conversation I had with my younger brother recently, and my thoughts towards it. But I really feel that a lot of people was just simply really afraid that this might not work out or what will happen. But to be honest, in the end, no one knows until you actually take action, And in the previous podcast, I explained that if you're afraid, you should just simply write down the things that you're afraid of and the worst things that could ever happen if you challenge something new. And once you start writing it down, you come to realize, well, there's nothing really that bad that could happen, Because, I mean, if, for example, my first friend, if he's talking about like having his fourth or fifth or sixth child and thinking about, well, if I'll have enough money or not, I would think that would be something you should be really very well concerned of. But we're talking about your first child, right? One child, and the mother and the father, they're both working, and you're talking about one child, right? I'm pretty sure you'll be able to make a living, And even if something happens like what happened to me, if once a baby is born, you'll have to do something, and you will be able to do it because you have to, right? And also for my senpai who was talking about YouTube, like that is like, what is there that can stop you? You're not going to have to use 1,000,000 yen to get started on YouTube. You need an email address, you log in and you have a channel, you have your smartphone, you film a video, you post it, and then you have a video on your YouTube channel. So like, what is there to be afraid of? I mean, like, you need to start moving, and actually taking action in order to understand if you are not good at it, if you're, what should I say, how to get around the troubles and everything. If you don't start walking, you'll never know. Like, you're standing there and thinking, well, there might be a swamp ahead of this. And, I'm not wearing the proper shoes to walk through a swamp right now. Or you might be thinking, well, maybe if I start walking, I might suddenly have to walk through a desert. Well, I don't have, enough water prepared for me, Or, what my friends were talking about really sounds like that. I'm like, well, you don't know. You haven't started walking yet, So that's something that I've been recently thinking. And I guess that's the thing that I probably obtained, the biggest thing that I obtained through my activities of basically working in the tourism industry, becoming a web writer, doing YouTube, everything. I just recently, so what I do is just, I do it first without thinking. If I think up of something, like, okay, let's do this video. Okay, let's start training in this. Or let's try to find a new friend that can do this. I just do it first and then think later. Because thinking before, of course, is important, that you have a plan that you try to think on so you can make the best of what you're going to be doing. Of course, that's important. But in the end, from my experience, I feel like 90% of it is meaningless. Because once you actually start walking, all your preparations are just your imaginations before you started. So most cases, they're not useful that much. And you'll just have to change your equipment as you walk, basically. So I really told both of my friends that I met, well, you should do it. If you want to do it, you should do it. If you don't want to do it, you shouldn't do it, of course. But if you have even slightly amount of will that you want to do it, then you should do it first and then think later. Because I assure you that you will be able to survive. Yeah. Because once you actually start walking, you would want to continue walking. Yeah. Because after taking one or two few steps, you would want to continue walking. Yeah, both. Yeah. So that's what I told my friends. And I was really, really happy to be able to see my friends for a really long time. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be continuing teaching my my team members too, absolutely. So then everyone, as I always say, the ultimate goal of my life is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. So I know that there's a lot of people studying Japanese, willing to come to Japan to study, work, or travel, and even train in our traditional culture and such. However, I am very afraid that Japan will not be able to make everyone's dreams come true in the future because we're facing a lot of social problems, we are losing our traditional culture, and the younger generations who are supposed to be carrying on the good things about Japan are dying because of all the social issues being shoved against them. So I really want to dedicate my life to try to make Japan a better place. I want to try to solve the social problems, preserve and evolve traditional culture, and help out the younger generations so they can have a brighter future. And to do this, my nearest goal is to achieve 2 million subscribers by January 2023 on my main channel, so your likes and comments will help to boost my videos to new viewers who have never seen my videos before, so it'd be great if you can help me out. I really want to become the #1 Japanese YouTuber who is talking, making content about Japan, so it'd be great if you can help me out. I really truly believe that the bigger platform I have on YouTube, I'll be able to do bigger things in the future. So it's really, for me, it's a really important foundation, to carry on the other businesses and projects I have in mind to try to make Japan a better place. But of course, at the same time, I am working on my third and fourth step of creating a brand to start selling merchandise, and also the stage performances and everything. And as I was talking about my second friend, I definitely will be challenging myself in the tourism industry again once the borders are finally fully open and such. So I hope you can look forward to that too. Once I actually start starting these new businesses, I definitely will be letting everyone know immediately. So I hope you can look forward to that too. Okay guys, thank you so much for listening, and waiting for your comments too. Bye bye.